You know, in this photograph, I see two women. I see two warriors. I see one woman who clearly, visibly looked like she'd been in a fight, and I see another woman who is actually elated to be at the fight, happy. And you can't really tell that she was actually in a fight. Not really. But guys, this video is no disrespect to any fighter because I know that when they step into that octagon, the risk is real. The risk is very, very real. Okay, but I'm going to break the fight down by the numbers. Stay tuned.
I don't give a piss. How you gonna explain this?
Get what you think, cause this is my channel. Forget about your feelings, cause the truth is hard to handle. Tick, 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 tock. Popcorn, pop, tart, fart. Leave a racist comment and you will get blocked. Coach Shelton Harrison, there never be no comparison. You're live on the show, sit back and have a listen. And that's just the way that is. Alright. LDBC, this is your boy Coach Shelton Harrison. You're live on the Coach Shelton Harrison Combat Sports Show Live. Okay guys, I'm gonna everything that I put into this video is gonna be a fact, okay? It's gonna be very factual. Okay, there's gonna be no me opinionating everything. These are facts. Okay, now, you know, I've been looking at some of the MMA community and some of the pros even said, hey, you know, I thought Holly won the fight. Well, you know, a lot of people saying, well, the fight was 3-2. Well, guys, I'm here to debunk that notion that Cris Cyborg actually pitched a complete shutout in this fight. She did. She shut it down. Cris Cyborg, everybody's used to seeing Cris Cyborg really going in and just like beating a person to death. Like, this was a shock for everybody to see, you know, Cris Cyborg just being patient. Like, it was a shock to me because I thought that Cris was really going to try to turn it up. But, you know, she was patient. She fought a patient fight. And I don't think Team Holm, they were prepared for that. See, I think that Team Holm, they prepared for every single thing that Cris would try to present. But they never prepared for Cris actually standing there being patient. And I think that, you know, I got to give that shout out to Jason Perillo. Jason Perillo gave Cris Cyborg the perfect game plan. And I felt too, and these are facts, guys. I felt that Jason in the corner, okay, what is the fact? Jason was very factual with Cris. He was factual. He said, hey, Cris, I think this is a close round. You know, I think it is. You know, that's what he said. And this is before Jason even knew the numbers, but, you know, he said, I think you won the round, but it was a close round. We need to do this. See, Jason was very factual with Cris. And basically he said, look, now you need to go in and do your thing. You know, like Jason gave it a green light. That was in round 3 when Cris really started to turn on the offense. And then, you know, when I looked at the Winklejohn corner and the Holly corner, it's like they weren't really being truthful. Like, they wasn't telling Holly, you know what, you might want to step it up. You might want to step it up a little bit because, you know, you're down. Like, they didn't tell her that. And I was kind of like, I'm scratching my head, you know. And, you know, I was kind of wondering, like, Greg Jackson, say something, man. Because, see, I'm going to tell you why I give Greg Jackson a lot of props. Greg Jackson, he's the most truthful out of the two. If, you know, you have to ask him a question, he's going to be very truthful. And I think having Greg Jackson in your corner, he's that fine balance. He's the fine balance. He's not going to blow smoke up your butt and say, well, you know, you're doing well. Greg not going to do that. Greg going to tell you, look, I think we need to do this. And I was waiting on Greg to just, like, say something, but he didn't, you know. But anyway, let's look at these numbers, okay? Let's look at the numbers, okay? Now, I look at a variety of different websites. The UFC, they have their own fight metrics, which, you know, those are pretty good. But, you know, the UFC, they will post their fight metrics, like, right after the fight. And those fight metrics, to me, they're unofficial. But then what a website like Fight Metric will do, they will go back and look at the fight like 1,000,000 times. And then they will release the official metrics, which I go by Fight Metric. They're pretty good. You got a couple other websites that are very, very good. But I found that Fight Metric is the best because they get everything. Every single data point that you can want, Fight Metric is going to have it. And, you know, I actually looked at the video. I watched the fight now for a 4th time. And I compiled my own data. And my data is very similar to Fight Metric. It's very similar. You know, and if you look at the purple box over here, okay, this is what, and I blew it up so y'all can see. Fight Metrics, they actually had it 16-5 Cris Cyborg for significant strikes. Like, you know, and I had it 19. I had it 19-4. So my numbers were very, very close. Cris, like Holly, you know, some of the pros, they were giving Holly credit for a lot of the strikes that either Cris blocked them or Cris slipped them. Okay, like, and Joe Rogan was kind of doing the same thing. You know, he couldn't see that, oh, Holly hit Cris with a left. But no, Cris slipped that left and hit Holly with a counter right. Like, Cris was actually using a lot of skill set. And I think it was a culture shock to everybody because people were used to seeing Cris go in there and just completely wreck a person. No. Cris Cyborg was very, very patient, and I think that took Team Winklejohn by surprise. They prepared for every scenario, but they didn't prepare for the Cris Cyborg being patient. They didn't prepare for that. So, you know, Jason Perillo had their number. Round 2, Fight Metrics said it was 21-4. I actually said it was 23-6, okay, in round 2. Fight Metrics said it was 22-6 in favor of Cyborg. I said that it was 24-7, okay, so our numbers are very, very close. Round 4, I actually said that it was I said it was 19-6. Fight Metrics said it was 20-9, so, you know, I was a little off there according to them. And in round 5, I actually had it 42. I had it 42-17. So, you know, we were close. And people saying, well, I think Holly went in the 5th round, and I think she did it. No, she didn't. And guys, you know, you have to really watch the fight. Cut off the announcers and watch the fight. You know, actually watch it and look at what Cris is doing. Like, Cris was using a lot of feints. She was using some head movement, man. She was slipping. And then, too, Cris didn't give Holly the same look. She kept giving Holly different looks every time while cutting off the octagon. And I told y'all I made a film study on Cyborg, and I called it intelligent pressure. Or, you know, she's not just a mauler. Cris already had some of these skill sets ingrained when she was fighting, you know, in Brazil and fighting, you know, at a shoot box. She already had some of this stuff ingrained. It's just now it's more fine-tuned. And guys, I keep telling y'all that this version of Cris Cyborg, guys, she's a much, much dangerous opponent. Much dangerous, because now she can stand and she can, you know, fight you at a distance. She can outpoint you at a distance, and she can get you in a clinch and fight. You know, and that's just how it is. Guys, the numbers are right here. And, you know, Randa Marco's one of the few pros that got it right. I mean, seriously. Okay? And Randa was like, who can come close? Like, a lot of the pros got it wrong, man. They were getting it wrong, and they were saying, well, you know, we fight, but, you know, hey, you know, what are we supposed to know? Well, you know, you guys are looking at it from ringside, and I bet you for a lot of these guys, they go do what I did. If they look at the fight, they play it back, they will see that Cris completely dominated this fight. Now, we're not saying that Holly didn't have heart. Holly had heart. Like, the heart of Holly Holm is unquestionable. She went 5 rounds. And she took a beating for 5 rounds, but she did it. You know how many people would have just quit? I mean, you know how many people would have quit on the stool? You know how many people just would have just took a knee, man, and just covered up? Holly Holm didn't do that. Holly did not do that. I mean, nobody is going to question Holly Hart. You know, at times, what Holly did, she made the fight so predictable. It's like Cris picked up on it, and it's like it was just Cris picking her apart. And you guys, these words, I thought I'd never say this, but Cris Cyborg, even looking at this fight metric, guys, Cris Cyborg picked Holly Holm apart. She picked her apart. And she turned Holly into, you know, somebody who's actually trying to fight, to a survivor. Guys, the last part of the fight, Holly was trying to survive. But these numbers solidify everything that I've said. Cris Cyborg landed 52% of her strikes. Guys, that's crazy. She landed 52% of her strikes. And I even think I read somewhere where she landed 75% of her power shots. Like, dude, that is staggering. And Holly Holm landed 19% of her strikes. And Holly couldn't even get, like, I think she got one good left hand that bloodied Chris's nose. But the rest of them, Cris was actually using a lot of defensive tactics. And, you know, Holly, when she first got hit, Holly and her brain probably was thinking, okay, this is not best, go ahead. This is not best, go ahead. This is real. Okay, I'm in a real fight. You know, Holly, she wasn't afraid, but I know those right hands, you know, Holly had to be thinking, I've never been hit that hard before in my life. It's crazy. But, you know, it was a good fight. You know, it was a good fight from the outside. But, guys, Cyborg deserves her credit, man. She deserves her credit. These numbers, the numbers don't lie, y'all. The numbers show that Cris Cyborg, in fact, did dominate the fight. But this is no disrespect to Holly Holm. This is definitely not a diss to Holly Holm, because, you know, man, when you step into that octagon, it's real. And I don't know if any of y'all ever been in an octagon or been in a boxing. Look, I done been in there before. I'm telling you, it's real. The damage is real. The injuries are real. This is not, you know, this is not story time. This is not a play time. This is not something that make believe. No. These women getting into this octagon and getting hurt, and the possibility of them not coming out is real. But shout out to Cris Cyborg and Holly Holm. But guys, I got to keep the truth going, and I got to balance this thing out. And a lot of these professional analysts, they're getting it wrong. Like, now, you know, what can you say? You can't say that Cris isn't a GOAT of the sport. Cris showed you she can do it all. Cris showed you that she can do it all. And that's just the way that is. This is your boy, Coach Shelton. #I'm done. What are you waiting on? Subscribe to the best women's MMA platform on YouTube.